It's Friday, November 26th, morning meditation period. For anybody who's been to a Bayagiri in the past 10 years or so, then you might be familiar with this donkey that would cry out during the day, during the afternoon, and particularly it seemed to be during evening puja. And it was this blood-curdling scream that this donkey would do from across the street. And turns out that donkey's name was Brazil, and it eventually died, and the screaming stopped. But it was like 10 years, almost daily. And now it's been replaced by some sort of bloodhound that has a mournful sort of, I can't call it a howl or a bark, but it's a very strange sound that it makes. And it was making it just now. And I remember the workers, we did a project last year, in the beginning of this year, this quadplex dormitory building that was completed, and the workers heard this dog making its sound, and they asked me, like, what is that? So, but it's not as loud as the donkey. So there's always something happening. There's always something in the background. And I think it's like this dog that has this mournful cry or this mournful howl-like sound that it makes. It's kind of like the mind. It's always doing something like that in the background. So we don't really need to always pay attention to the content of the mind, but that it's just, it's doing that again. It's just doing the same old thing again. That's what we call the papancha, or the proliferation. So we don't always need to give so much importance to the contents of it, but just to, especially when we're in the middle of a retreat or middle of our meditation practice, then, it's just doing that again. And in terms of meditation, I like the word stillness. The way the mind is, it's an interesting contemplation, that the mind, there can be a sense of stillness. We can't fix the mind because we're moving on through time, where the mind it can't just freeze. So our body and mind is moving through, there's a sense of continuity. And all time is an illusion, but it's an illusion built up through this, what we call santati, or continuity. So there's a continuity to each mind moment of awareness. There's a continuity to the body. The body keeps aging because of this continuity. And there's a talk where Longpo Cha talks about this, and he says he reached a certain point in his practice where there was santati, there was continuity, and then there was vimutti, which was liberation. And that's where the continuity is seen through, or where it's broken, where the continuity is broken. And the continuity is very much on a profound level in the Buddha's teaching. That's the continuity of rebirth. But that santati in the present moment, which is continuing on and on and on and on, that's like the thread of rebirth. And so that can actually be broken, but that continuity is glued together ultimately by avijja, which is a lack of true knowledge or a lack of penetrating awareness. and also held together by clinging, which is like a glue that holds the experience together. So when we meditate and we look at the mind, well, the body and the mind, and we look at the breath, we look at the continuity, but we can also look at the gaps in the continuity and then try to investigate those as well. And the way we can do this with the breath is we can look at the break in the continuity at the end of an in-breath, or at the end of the out-breath, or both. And when the continuity is cut, if the continuity were to be cut, we would take that as death. If the continuity of the body is cut, we would take that as death, or the cutting off of the life faculty. And I think, in a way, that's why there's a resistance to ending the continuity in the mind, in the heart. Is it would be taken as there's something in us which would take that as a death. And I suspect that this is what Luang Por Cha is talking about when he says, die before you die. You have to die before you die. And it's also letting go, but there's a resistance to that. So this is also what the Buddha talked about in the suttas. He said, giving mind to perceptions of resistance. So where are we resisting? Where are we holding on? Where is there perceptions of resistance? Where is there tension? And we can do this body sweeping again as well, just like in the beginning of the retreat. Taking a few moments to check in with the body from the top of the head down onto the soles of the feet. Where is there tension? Where is there some sort of buildup of energy? Can we consciously relax that? We can take this idea of calming and settling and the idea of the continuity of the mind. How's that experienced? And we can also using the awareness of the breathing for the next 30 minutes or so.